Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, January 29, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to today and the weekend's games. A big-name player in the NFL requests a trade. We'll talk about possible destinations and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start in college basketball. We'll go over yesterday's results, and we will look ahead to today and the weekend's games. Long Island over Merrimack, 78-68. USC over Oregon State, 75-62. Winthrop over UNC Asheville, 84-80. Valpo over Bradley, 91-85 in double overtime. Rutgers over Michigan State, 67-37. Louisiana Tech over Southern Miss, 76-63. UTSA over UTEP, 86-79. Number 15, Kansas over TCU, 59-51. Memphis over SMU, 67-65. Murray State over Tennessee State, 73-53. Morehead State over Jacksonville State, 85-66. Number 1, Gonzaga over San Diego, 90-62. Number 6, Houston over Tulane, 83-60. San Diego State over Wyoming, 87-57. Southeast Missouri State over SIU Edwardsville, 64-62. Tennessee Martin over Eastern Illinois, 51-41. Belmont over Austin P, 81-76. UAB over Middle Tennessee, 70-59. Weber State over Idaho, 81-56. San Jose State over Air Force, 59-58. Stanford over Arizona, 73-64. Arizona State over Cal, 72-68. And Fresno State over New Mexico, 64-62 in overtime. Now we'll look ahead to today's games at 3 o'clock. A game that was supposed to be yesterday and got moved to today. North Texas at Rice. My line for this game is North Texas by 11.5. FanDuel, let's see if they even have a lineup yet. Not yet for this game, but my projected line is North Texas 11.5. I didn't do totals today because I just didn't have time to, but yeah, my projections, North Texas, 11.5. Carver, NC Central, you can skip Monmouth, Niagara. My line is Monmouth, 8.5. Can't find a line out for that yet. 5 o'clock, Detroit and Youngstown State. My line is Youngstown State, 5.5. Meanwhile, Youngstown's only a 1.5 point favorite. I'm going to lay with Youngstown State at minus 114. Louisiana and Texas State. My line is Texas State 5.5, and it's 4.5. Total's 132.5. I'm going to jump on the over at minus 106. 6 o'clock, Cal Poly and UC Riverside. My line's Riverside by 14. And I do not see a line out yet for this game. UNC Asheville, Winthrop. My line's Winthrop 12. And it's 12.5. Total's 155.5. I'm going to jump on the over at minus 114. Milwaukee and IUPUI. My line is IUPUI by 2, and it's Milwaukee 4.5. I'm taking IUPUI plus the 4.5 at minus 118 and plus 162 on the money line. Simpson, Portland State, we can skip. UIC in Northern Kentucky. My line here is Northern Kentucky by 9.5. And Northern Kentucky's only favored by 2.5. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with Northern Kentucky against UIC. Longwood Presbyterian. My line is Longwood 2, and it's 2.5. Total's 125.5. That's very low. I'm going to take the over at minus 112. Bellarmine and Kennesaw State. My line's Bellarmine by 11. And Bellarmine's favored by 7.5. I'm going to lay to 7.5 with Bellarmine at minus 114. FIU Charlotte. My line is Charlotte 6. And Charlotte's favored by 6.5. Total's 134.5. I'm going to take the under at minus 106. I don't feel good about it, though. FAU Marshall. My line's Marshall 8. And I do not see a line out for this game. I do expect Marshall to go out and win. 6:30 ESPN2, number 22 St. Louis at Richmond. My line's Richmond 1, and it's 1.5. Total's 144.5. I'm going to jump on the under at minus 106. Xavier Butler unfortunately postponed. 7 o'clock, High Point Gardner Webb. My line is Gardner Webb 10.5, and it's 7.5. I'm going to lay to 7.5 with Gardner Webb against High Point. Cal State Northridge against Cal Poly. My line is Northridge 7.5, and it's 5.5. I'm going to lay to 5.5 with Northridge at minus 106. Green Bay Cleveland State. My line is Cleveland State 15.5. And it is only 4.5. I'm going to lay to 4.5 with Cleveland State at minus 114. Stetson, Florida Gulf Coast. My line is Stetson by 2. And Stetson, I don't see a line out yet for this game. Now I do. Florida Gulf Coast 1.5. I'm going to take Stetson plus 1.5 at minus 106 and plus 110 on the money line. North Alabama, North Florida. My line is North Alabama 7. And it is North Florida 1.5. I'm taking North Alabama plus 1.5 at minus 118 and minus 102 on the money line. Liberty Jacksonville. My line is Liberty 11.5, and it's 10.5. Total 130.5. I'm going to jump on the under at minus 112. Texas Arlington and Arlington State. My line is Arlington by 8. And the line is Arlington 2.5. I'm going to lay to 2.5 at UT Arlington at minus 120. Appalachian State and Troy. My line is App State 11. And it is App State 4.5. I'm going to lay to 4.5 with App State. Ohio and Buffalo and ESPNU. My line is Buffalo 4.5. And it's Buffalo 2.5. I'm going to lay to 2.5 with Buffalo at minus 114. Santa Barbara and UC Davis. My line is Santa Barbara 4.5. And it's 8.5. Wait, 4.5? Is that right? 9.5. I'd read off the long line. I apologize. 145.5 is the total. I'm going to jump on the over at minus 114. UC San Diego and Long Beach State. My line is UC San Diego by 5. And it is Long Beach State 1.5. I'm taking San Diego plus 1.5 at minus 118 and plus 100 on the money line. 7:30, Charleston Southern and Campbell. My line is Campbell 9.5. And it's Campbell 7.5. We're going to lay to 7.5 with Campbell against Charleston Southern. Oakland and Purdue Fort Wayne. My line is Purdue Fort Wayne by 9.5. And it's only 1.5. I'm going to lay to 1.5 with Purdue Fort Wayne against Oakland at minus 108. UL Monroe at Little Rock. My line is Little Rock by 15. And it's 10.5. We're going to lay to 10.5 at Little Rock at minus 115. 8 o'clock, Northern Colorado, Northern Arizona again. The line is, my line is Northern Colorado 13. And right now we don't have a line. Manhattan, St. Peter's. St. Peter's by 13 is my projection. We don't have a line yet. North Dakota State, UMKC. My line is North Dakota State minus 14. And it is 1.5. I'm going to lay to 1.5 at North Dakota State at minus 118. Next up, Omaha, South Dakota. My line is South Dakota 8. And I don't see a lineup yet for this game. Tarleton, Utah Valley. My line is Utah Valley 14.5. And it's 7.5. We lay to 7.5 at Utah Valley at minus 114. 8:30, Western Illinois and North Dakota. My line is North Dakota by 7.5. and it's 4.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with North Dakota against Western Illinois. Coastal Carolina and Georgia Southern on ESPN2. My line is Coastal 6.5, and it's Coastal 1.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5 of Coastal at minus 118. 9 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, great game. Number 7, Iowa at number 19, Illinois. My line is Iowa 3, and it's Illinois 2.5. I'm taking Iowa plus 2.5 minus 118 and plus 114 straight up. Luka Garza should be the best player on the court in that game. South Dakota State and Denver. My line is South Dakota State a whopping 21.5. And I don't have a lineup yet for this game on FanDuel. Robert Morris and Wright State on ESPNU. My line is Wright State 18, and it is 14.5. I'm going to lay to 14.5 at minus 105. New Mexico Grand Canyon. My line for this is Grand Canyon 2, and Grand Canyon's favored by 3.5. 131.5 is the total. I'm going to take the under at minus 106. Dixie State, Cal Baptist. My line is Cal Baptist 7.5, and it's 10.5. I'm taking Dixie State plus the points at minus 118. 11 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. Boise State, Colorado State. My line is Boise 2.5, and it's 1.5. Total 145.5. I'm going to jump on the under 145.5. 11 o'clock, ESPNU. Cal State Fullerton and Cal State Bakersfield. My line is Bakersfield 16. And it's Bakersfield 9.5. I'm going to lay to 9.5 with Bakersfield at minus 118. And last but not least, UC Irvine, Hawaii. My line is Irvine 12.5, and it's 3.5. So I'm going to lay to 3.5 with Irvine at minus 104. Now we'll look ahead to a busy weekend ahead. A couple to be determined games. Omaha, South Dakota, and UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis. 12 o'clock, ESPN SEC Big 12 Challenge, number 9, Alabama, number 24, Oklahoma. Great game in Norman. I am taking the Tide because they've been on fire and they're rolling. Fox Sports 1, Providence, Georgetown. Give me Providence. Tulsa, East Carolina, Tulsa. Clemson, Duke on ESPN 2. Oof. Duke's going to be favored, but I'm taking Clemson straight up. Going a little Gary Parrish there of CBS Sports Network. Loyola, Maryland, and Navy. ESPNU, Texas A&M, and Kansas State in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Give me A&M on the road. 1 o'clock, Sienna Maris, Quinnipiac, Canisius, LaSalle, VCU on NBCSN. Give me VCU at home. Furman, Western Carolina, William & Mary Towson. Hope UNC Wilmington. 2 o'clock, ESPN2, number 10, Texas Tech at LSU. Give me the Tigers at home. Going a little bold here. Florida at number 11, West Virginia. A good one from Morgantown. Give me West Virginia at home. I wonder if that comeback against Texas Tech will be their spring point. A little bit. Back into like the top 10. Deep into the top 10, like at the 7th spot. Post their COVID issue. ESPNU, TCU, number 12, Missouri. Missouri should win that easily. New Hampshire, Binghamton, UMBC, NJIT, Hartford, Stony Brook, Sacred Heart, Mount St. Mary's, ACC Network, Miami, Wake. Give me Wake at home. I don't feel good about it, though. Colgate, Holy Cross, Bucknell, Lehigh, BU, Holy Cross, Lafayette, American, Western Michigan, Miami of Ohio, Ball State, Akron, Elon, Delaware, George Mason, St. Bonaventure. 3 o'clock on Fox. Number 3, Villanova at Seton Hall. These two teams meet again. I'm going to take Nova at home. I think Seton Hall is trending towards not even making the NIT at this point. Big Ten Network, number 14, Wisconsin at Penn State. Give me Wisconsin at home. Or, I'm sorry, on the road. Bluefield, Lipscomb, Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech, Morgan State, Coppin State, Milwaukee, IUPUI, Weber State, Idaho. 4 o'clock, ESPN, Auburn at number 2, Baylor. Baylor's going to roll them. ACC Network, number 16, Florida State at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's improved, but Florida State's better. Monmouth, Niagara, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois, ESPNU, UCF, Wichita State. Give me Wichita at home. Long Island, St. Francis, Brooklyn, CBS Sports Arc, Rhode Island, Dayton. Give me Dayton. Longwood Presbyterian, Bellarmine, Kennesaw State. Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, FIU, Charlotte, FAU, Marshall, ESPN2, Arkansas, Oklahoma State. Good game in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Give me Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham on the road. At home. Alabama, A&M, Prairie View, Mercer, Wofford, Citadel, East Tennessee State, Central Michigan, Kennesaw State, 4:30, Delaware State, Norfolk State, Houston Baptist, A&M, Corpus Christi, Southern Alcorn State, High Point, Gardner Webb at 5 o'clock. UMass, Lowell, Albany, Pac-12 Network, Cal, Arizona, give me Arizona at home. They're going to whoop them. New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana, Robert Morris, Wright State, UIC, Northern Kentucky, Detroit Mercy, Youngstown State, SIU, Edwardsville, Tennessee Martin, Morehead State, Tennessee Tech, Tennessee State, Austin Peay, North Alabama, North Florida, Lipscomb, Stetson, Northwestern State, Central Arkansas, Texas Arlington, Arkansas State, Yale Monroe, Little Rock, Louisiana, Texas State, App State, Troy, William Marymount, San Diego, Toledo, Bowling Green. That's a solid game on ESPN Plus. Give me Toledo on the road. 5:30, Charleston Southern, Campbell. And on Fox, you have Oregon, USC out of the Pac-12. Great game. Give me the Trojans at home. McNeese, Lamar, Xavier, Butler. Give me Xavier on the road. 6 o'clock, ACC Network. Number 8, Virginia at number 20, Virginia Tech. Give me the Cavs on the road. ESPN, number 15, Kansas at number 18, Tennessee. This should be where game day is, and I'm going to go with the Vols at home. Cal Poly, UC Riverside, Air Force, San Jose State. Give me San Jose State at home. Ole Miss and Georgia. Give me Georgia. Eastern Illinois at Southeast Missouri State. Liberty and Jacksonville. CBS Sports Network, San Francisco, BYU. Give me BYU at home. ESPN2, Iowa State and Mississippi State. Give me Mississippi State at home. 6:30, Mississippi Valley State, Grambling, or Jackson State, and Grambling hosts Arkansas Pine Bluff. 7 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, Oregon State at number 23, UCLA. Give me UCLA as they return from a little bit of a COVID hiatus. Cal State Northridge and Cal Poly. New Mexico and Fresno State. Bryant, Fairleigh Dickinson, Merrimack Wagner, Central Con State, San Fran, Pennsylvania. St. Joseph's, Duquesne. Give me Duquesne at home. Oakland, Purdue. Green Bay, Cleveland State, Stetson, Florida Gulf Coast, VMI, UNC Greensboro, San Diego, Long Beach State. 7:30, number 21, Minnesota at Purdue. Give me Purdue at home. Abilene Christian, Incarnate Word. 8 o'clock, ESPN2, number 1, Gonzaga at Pepperdine. Gonzaga's going to kill him. Great game on ESPN Saturday primetime. Number 5, Texas at Kentucky. This is probably where game day is, even with Kentucky being as abysmal as they are. ESPN gives them so much favoritism and would put them on game day. But that said, Texas is just so much better than Kentucky at this point. So give me Texas, as I think they're going to kill them. So, Longhorns, as Chaco Smart's doing fantastic. And yeah, I didn't say where game day was this weekend. We'll find out tomorrow. CBS Sports Network, Creighton at DePaul, number 17. Creighton should win that going away. Notre Dame, Pitt on ACC Network. Give me Pitt at home. Manhattan, St. Peter's, North Dakota State, UMKC, Tarleton, Utah Valley. Now we're in 8 o'clock window, obviously. 8:30, Western Illinois, North Dakota. SEC Network, South Carolina, Vandy. Give me South Carolina on the road. Belmont, Murray State. Alabama State, Texas Southern. South Dakota State, Denver at 9 o'clock. UTSA, UTEP, New Mexico State, Grand Canyon. Dixie State, Cal Baptist, 9:30, Pac-12 Network, Utah, Colorado. Colorado should kill them. ESPN2, Stanford, Arizona State. Give me Stanford on the road. They're just better than Arizona State this year. CBS Sports Network, Wyoming and San Diego State. Give me San Diego State at home. Cal State Fullerton and Cal State Bakersfield. And last but not least, UC Irvine at Hawaii again. Sunday, TBD, Sacramento State, Eastern Washington. 12 o'clock, Tulane Temple. 1 o'clock, ESPN. SMU at number 6, Houston. Give me Houston at home in that one. And in the Tulane Temple, I'm going to take Temple at home. CBS at 1 o'clock, Michigan State at number 13. Ohio State, give me the Buckeyes. They're just better than Sparty at this point. Quinnipiac and Canisius, Northeastern Drexel, William and Mary Towson, Hofstra, UMC Wilmington, New Hampshire, Binghamton at 2 o'clock. UMBC, NJIT, Hartford, Stony Brook, Sacramento, Mount St. Mary's, Middle Tennessee, UAB, Alon, Delaware, Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado. 3 o'clock, Siena Maris, UMass Lowell, Albany, Morgan State, Coppin State, CBS Sports Network, Loyola Chicago, Missouri State. Give me Loyola Chicago on the road. Illinois State, Drake. 3:30 Fox, St. John's, Marquette. Give me Marquette at home. They're just better than St. John's, despite the records. Rice, North Texas, Valpo, Evansville. Now we're in the 4 o'clock window. Last couple games I said. Bradley, Indiana State. Central Connecticut State and St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Merrimack, Wagner. Bryant, Fairleigh, Dickinson. Lehigh, Bucknell. American Lafayette, Sam Houston State, and Stephen F. Austin. On ESPNU, give me Stephen F. Austin at home as they hand Sam Houston State their first conference loss, or a conference loss. I think it might be their first conference loss. 4:30 Delaware State, Norfolk State, 5 o'clock. Fordham, VCU. VCU should kill Fordham. CBS Sports Network, Colgate, Holy Cross. Give me Colgate on the road. 6 o'clock ESPN2, Northern Iowa and Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois should win that game. ACC Network, NC State, Syracuse. I'm going to go Syracuse at home. Navy, Loyola, Maryland, 7:30. Rutgers, Northwestern. Rutgers has fallen apart, but they really turned the page, it looks like, against Michigan State last night. So, give me Rutgers on the road, as I think they'll follow up the big win over Michigan State with a good win over a Northwestern team that isn't that good. 8 o'clock Pac-12 Network, Washington State. Washington, give me Washington State to finally get off the schneid. And 9:30 on Fox Sports 1, UNLV, Nevada. In-state battle, give me Nevada at home. All right, now we'll move on to the NBA and look back on a short window from yesterday, and then we'll look ahead to tonight's and the weekend's games. Rockets over the Blazers, 104-101. The Rockets, 8-9. Portland, 9-8. Victor Oladipo had 25 points. And Dame Lillard had 30 with 9 assists. Pistons over the Lakers, 107-92. This is the worst loss the Lakers have had all year. Pistons 5-14. Lakers 14-6. Blake Griffin had 23 points and 6 assists. Kyle Kuzma had 22 points and 10 boards. Clippers over the Heat, 109-105. Clippers 14-5. Miami 6-12. Nick Batum actually led the Clippers in scoring with 13, and Tyler Herro had 19 for Miami as Jimmy Butler is not back yet. Suns killed the Warriors, 114-93. An impressive win for the Suns, who go to 9-8. Golden State 10-9. Mikal Bridges had 20. Lead the Suns, and Stephen Curry had 27 for Golden State. Tonight's games, at 7 o'clock, you have the Pacers and the Hornets. My line for this game is Pacers 4.5. Total 221. Meanwhile, it is Pacers 3.5. Total 219.5. Give me the over. Hawks Wizards. My line is Hawks 8.5, total 230. Meanwhile, it's Hawks 4.5, total 234. Give me the Hawks minus 4.5. Cavs Knicks. My line's Cavs 1.5, total 210. Meanwhile, it's Cavs 1, total 208. I have no choice but to take the over. I have a 2-point edge on the over. 1-point edge on the Cavs. Won't be shocked if this flips and the Knicks become a favorite at home. Although I do have an edge on Cleveland. I like the over better. Because the Knicks have been a little bit better offensively, and the Cavs' defense is a little regressing. The Cavs have been better offensively as well. Kings Raptors. My line is Kings by 1, total 226.5. Meanwhile, it is Raptors 5.5 total, 229. I'm taking the Kings plus the 5.5 and plus 194 on the money line. On ESPN tonight, you have the Bucks and the Pelicans. My line is Bucks 9.5 total, 225.5. And it's Bucks 7 total, 228.5. If I'm not mistaken, this was an ESPN game last year too. I'm going to take the under. I think the Bucks defense can get some stops here. So give me under 228.5 in that game. 8 o'clock, Clippers Magic. My line is Clippers 5 total, 218.5. Meanwhile, the Magic are favored by 2.5. I'm taking the Clippers again, plus 2.5 and plus 116 straight up. If they can beat the Heat without those two guys, and they can beat the Magic without those two guys. Granted, the Heat have been big underachievers this year. COVID withstanding. 76ers, Timberwolves. My line is Sixers 16.5 total. 224. Meanwhile, it is Sixers 6.5. We don't have a total yet. Let me quickly check the status of one Joel Embiid. And if he's obviously out, they have to do some adjusting on the fly. It looks like he'll play. So give me the Sixers by 6.5 at minus 114. And I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is back yet either. With or without Towns, I have an edge on the Sixers. Nets Thunder, my line is Brooklyn 15 total to 27. Meanwhile, it is Brooklyn 9 total 231. I'm laying it with Brooklyn. I'm laying the 9 with Brooklyn against Oklahoma City. Denver San Antonio at 8:30. My line is Nuggets 5 total to 24.5. Meanwhile, it is Nuggets 4 total 222. Give me the over. And last but not least, the Mavericks at the Jazz on ESPN. As the Jazz go for, I want to say 11 straight. And that's pretty good. Utah, 6.5 total, 219 is my projection. It's Utah 4. I'm laying it with Utah. The Mavericks have just been disappointing all year. Meanwhile, the Jazz have been on fire. Just can't go against Utah at this point. So I'm laying the 4 with Utah against Dallas. To the weekend we go. Saturday, 8 o'clock, Trailblazers, Bulls, Bucks, Hornets, Rockets, Pelicans, Kings, Heat. ABC, Saturday primetime, great game. Lakers, Celtics. Some finals rematches from the past. And maybe a finals preview. You never know. I do think the Lakers will come out and bounce back here after the bad loss to the Pistons. LeBron James in primetime. So give me the Lakers here in Boston against the Celtics. Grizzlies, Spurs. So the Grizzlies coming back from their COVID hiatus finally. 9 o'clock, Suns, Mavericks, and 10 o'clock, the Pistons and the Warriors. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Clippers, Knicks, 3:30 NBA TV, Jazz, Nuggets. 7 o'clock, 76ers, Pacers, Magic, Raptors, NBA TV, Nets, Wizards, at 8 o'clock, the Cavaliers at the Timberwolves. Now we'll look back at the NHL slate from last night, and we will look ahead to the games tonight and the weekend. Rangers over the Sabres, 3-2 in overtime on the game-winning goal by rookie Alexis Lafreniere. First NHL goal. Rangers with the big win go to 2-4-1. Buffalo 3-3-2. The number 3 started game with the overtime winner, Alexis Lafreniere. Number 2 started game with 36 saves on 38 shots, Linus Ullmark. He kept Buffalo in that game till the end, and he stole that point for Buffalo. And number 1 started game with the goal and assist, Artemi Panarin. Bruins over the Penguins 4-1. The Bruins with a good win, 5-1-1. Pittsburgh 4-3-1. The number 3 started game with an assist. You got Anders Bjork. Number 2 started game with assist, Charlie McAvoy. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals, Patrice Bergeron. Flyers over the Devils 3-1. The Flyers 5-2-1. Devils 3-3-1. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Eric Gustafsson. Number 2 started game with the goal, Claude Giroux. And the number 1 started game with 33 saves on 34 shots, Carter Hart. Capitals do it again. 6-3 over the Islanders. Come from behind 3-0 down and score 6 unanswered. Capitals 5-0-3. Islanders 3-4-0. Islanders have fallen apart. The number 3 started the game with the goal and assist, John Carlson. Number 2 started the game with the goal and assist, Daniel Charles. First is the cap, by the way. And the number 1 started the game with 2 goals, former Penguin Connor Sheary, who I think will be a good contributor to Washington this year. Hurricanes over the Lightning, 1-0 in overtime on a game-winning goal by Martin Necas. As Carolina goes to 3-1-0 as they return from their COVID hiatus. Tampa 3-1-1. Number 3 starting game with 34 saves on 35 shots. Andrei Vasilevsky, he kept them in that game. Number 2 started the game with the overtime winner, Martin Necas. And the number 1 started the game with 32 saves on 32 shots with a shutout, Peter Mrazek. Panthers lose at Columbus 3-2 in a shootout. Columbus 3-2-3. Panthers 3-0-1. Florida's first loss of the year. Number 3 started the game, didn't have a point, but just played great for Columbus. Alexander Teixeira. Number 2 started the game with the goal, Max Domi. And Teixeira had the shootout winner as well. And the number 1 started the game with 33 saves on 35 shots, Elvis Merkselins. Canadiens over the Flames 4-2. The Montreal Canadiens have been brilliant. 5-0-2. Calgary 2-3-1. The number 3 started game with an assist, Nick Suzuki. Number 2 started game with 2 assists, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And the number 1 started game with 2 assists, Jonathan Drouin. Wild over the Kings 5-3. The Wild 5-3-0. Kings 3-3-2. Number 3 started game with the goal and assist, Drew Doughty. Number 2 started game with 2 assists, Jonas Brodin. And the number 1 started the game with the goal, Joel Eriksson Ek. Stars over the Red Wings 7-3. The Stars 4-0-0. They're undefeated. Detroit 2-5-1. Number 3 started the game with 2 assists, Tanner Kero. The number 2 started the game with the goal and 2 assists, Dennis Gurianov. And the number 1 started the game with 3 assists, Miro Heiskanen. Avalanche over the Sharks 3-2, or 3-0, my bad. Colorado 5-3-0, San Jose 3-5-0. Nazem Kadri had 2 goals, and Burakovsky had a goal as well. Coyotes over the Ducks 3-2. That's the score I was looking at. Whoops. When I said 3-2 for that Avs Sharks game by mistake. So yeah, Coyotes over the Ducks 3-2. Coyotes with the big win 3-4-1. Anaheim 3-3-2. The number 3 started the game with an assist, Clayton Keller. The number 2 started the game with 14 saves on 16 shots, Darcy Kemper. And the number 1 started the game with 2 goals. You got Christian Dvorak. Maple Leafs over the Oilers 4-3. The Maple Leafs 7-2-0. Edmonton 3-6-0. Number 3 started the game with the goal, Austin Matthews. Number 2 started the game with the goal and assist, Jason Spezza. The number 1 started the game with 2 goals, Leon Draisaitl. Canucks over the Senators 4-1. The Canucks 5-5-0. Ottawa 1-6-1. The number 3 started the game with the goal and assist, Elias Pettersson. Number 2 started the game with 36 saves on 37 shots, Braden Holtby. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals and assists, Brock Besser. One game tonight, Blue Jackets, Blackhawks. The lone game tonight, as the Blue Jackets are minus 130 favorites. Blackhawks plus 110. Over-under is 5.5. Columbus puck line is at minus 1.5 at plus 220. Blackhawks puck line plus 1.5 is minus 270. I'm going to take the over. Again, this is, to me, banking on the opposing offense against the Blackhawks going against bad goaltending for Chicago. I know Chicago's been surprisingly decent so far this year, but Columbus is coming off a back-to-back. I can see Chicago putting up some goals too. I think this is a 4-3 game, so it could be over 5.5, or it could be 4-2 with an empty netter. That's the other distinct possibility for tonight. All right, Saturday, 1 o'clock, Devils, Sabres, 7 o'clock, Penguins, Rangers, Islanders, Flyers, Bruins, Capitals, Stars, Hurricanes. Well, that's ironic that those two teams are facing off. Stars and the Hurricanes. Predators, Lightning, Panthers, Red Wings, Flames, Canadians, Maple Leafs, Oilers, 8 o'clock, Avalanche, Wild, 9 o'clock, Blues, Ducks, 10 o'clock, Canucks, Jets. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Devils, Sabres, 5 o'clock, Stars, Hurricanes, Panthers, Red Wings, 7 o'clock, Islanders, Flyers, Blue Jackets, Blackhawks, 8 o'clock, Avalanche, Wild, Blues, Ducks, and Senators, Oilers. And by the way, yesterday we had a game postponed between the Blues and the Golden Knights, and we don't have a Golden Knights game until February 1st, Monday night. So we'll see if that gets postponed or not. So the Golden Knights, it's just coincidental that they have a couple days off, as there are some positive tests within the organization which forced them to postpone their game against the Blues. All right, now I want to talk about the biggest story of the NFL offseason, and that is going to be the future of Deshaun Watson. Obviously, yesterday, Adam Schefter broke the news pretty much on Get Up that Deshaun Watson has requested a trade. This was inevitable. All their rumors were that he was unhappy with the Texans and he wanted out. He didn't like the approach they went in their general manager search and then now the head coach as well. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson, I think, has absolutely played his last game as a Texan. I think you could say the same about J.J. Watt. But this conversation for today is about Deshaun Watson. So I'm going to talk about some destinations and what teams can offer. I'm going to go by division. I think every team in the AFC East, with the exception of the Buffalo Bills, are in play for Watson. The Jets can offer the number 2 pick in the draft and 2 more first-round picks and maybe a second, and Quinnen Williams. I think that is a package that the Texans should be interested in, and maybe they can throw in Sam Darnold as well. So maybe Sam Darnold and or the number 2 pick. But I think they'd rather have the number 2 pick and pick a quarterback. And then Sam Darnold, I think, could be had in another trade. So, the number 2 pick and 2 more first-round picks, so let's say 2022 and 2023, a 2021 second-round pick. And the Jets also have Seattle's picks as well, so they can go that route. You can give up the number 2 pick, the Seattle pick, and then your 2 first-rounders for next year, yours and the Seattle pick from the Jamal Adams deal. Second-round pick in 2021, so this year. And Quinnen Williams. I think that is a really good haul for Houston, and I think that they should consider that. And they would have 2 picks in the first round this year, take a quarterback, and take a generational type of player that's still left on the board, or a player that you can help build your franchise around. Miami. They have a great asset to dangling to Tagovailoa, and they also have the number 3 pick in the draft, which the Texans used to own, courtesy of the Laramie Tunsil trade. So, they would get their own pick back in that trade. And they would get Tua Tagovailoa. And Miami can give up 2 more first-round picks as well. So with the number 3 pick in the draft, then Houston would start fresh, and potentially with Tua in the deal, they don't have to take a quarterback at number 3. They can go with the tackle from Oregon, Penny Sewell, with the number 3 pick, or they can go with Devontae Smith or somebody like that. So that is just a really good package. New England could offer their first-round pick this year and a couple future firsts, and maybe like Kyle Duggar or something like that, the safety. I don't think that the Texans would want to trade with the New England Patriots, but you never know. I don't think anybody in the AFC North is in play. I think that Roethlisberger will return to Pittsburgh, but I just think that they have to restructure his contract a little bit. AFC South, I don't see them trading in division, but in theory, the number 1 overall pick for Watson straight up enticing. So essentially it would be Deshaun Watson from Trevor Lawrence, but that doesn't make sense because Watson's just going to yet another bad team. But if they do that and make some ballsy win-now signings, like go out and sign Allen Robinson, go out and sign Juju Smith-Schuster as free agents, so that gives Watson weapons. And then you use the picks you got in the Jalen Ramsey trade to get a lineman or something. But yeah, they still have holes on their roster if they traded for Watson. So I wouldn't do it if you're Jacksonville. But that's your best case scenario if you're Houston. Just do that straight up and you get Trevor Lawrence. But then again, I think that Jacksonville would have to give up more than the number 1 overall pick. Because Houston needs more, in my opinion. Because everyone loves Trevor Lawrence, I get it. I know that would be the ideal scenario for Houston, for them to get the number 1 overall pick and maybe 1 extra pick from Jacksonville. But I don't see Jacksonville giving up Trevor Lawrence, essentially, for Deshaun Watson. And plus it's in division as well. And Indy's the other candidate in division, but again, I don't see them trading in division. They could give up their next couple first-round picks and maybe one more asset that they have, like Jonathan Taylor, or I don't see them giving up Darius Leonard. I wouldn't do that. Maybe Michael Pittman or something like that. So that future quarterback in Houston could have a wide out to throw to. The AFC West, Denver. I don't think Denver would pull the trigger. But it's interesting. They could do Drew Lock and a couple future first-round picks. And maybe let's throw in Bradley Chubb in the deal. And I would consider it if I'm Houston. Or maybe Drew Lock's not in the deal. But if I'm Denver, I would put Drew Lock in the deal. The Raiders. Derek Carr and a couple future first-round picks. I know the Mac trade's done, but so they don't have any of those extras like they did the past couple of seasons. But we do Derek Carr, maybe Jonathan Abrams or Hunter Renfrow, one of those two guys, and some future first-round picks if you're the Raiders. And we know the Chargers won't do it, and the Chiefs won't do it. The Cowboys, I don't think will pull the trigger. I think they'll ultimately pay Dak Prescott on a team-friendly deal. But the Cowboys giving up a couple first-round picks and Ezekiel Elliott's contract as a throw-in. I saw Adam Shine suggest that. I think the Texans, I don't know if they would do that if they eat the Zeke money, but the contracts in theory would match up with Watson, with Elliott. The Giants, Daniel Jones, and a couple future firsts. I think the Giants should consider that personally because Jones really didn't show much as a. This is like Denver with Drew Lock, same thing. The Giants and Denver in the similar situation of soon-to-be year 3 quarterbacks who really didn't show improvement from year 1 to year 2. And both those rosters actually aren't all that bad, although the Giants obviously have the much better head coach, in my opinion, in Joe Judge, and the Denver has the much better GM in John Elway than Dave Gettleman. But yeah, if the Giants were the team that was able to pull that off, then they become a contender in the NFC. Yeah, Daniel Jones and a couple first-round picks. Then he could get a better offensive line. Maybe the Giants sign a receiver in free agency. And now that's like a formidable team. Washington, they could do a couple of future first-round picks. You know that Houston's going to demand Chase Young in that deal, but no, don't give up Chase Young. If they gave up Chase Young, then they're stupid, because I think Chase Young's special. So as long as they don't demand Chase Young, you do that trade if you're Washington. And maybe you could do Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, one of those two, and 3 future first-round picks. And then you would have Terry McLaurin, and maybe Washington would sign like an Allen Robinson in theory. So, yeah, that's obviously a pretty good situation for Deshaun if he were to go to Washington. Eagles, I don't think, are in play. I think that they want to stick to Carson Wentz with the new coaching staff, so I don't think they'll go in that direction. Chicago's obviously in play. That'd be a good marketing opportunity for Watson, like New York would be. Obviously, Chicago would then have to get rid of Mitch Trubisky, so he wouldn't be a part of the deal. Would you do, like, David Montgomery and 3 future first-round picks if you're Chicago? But I don't know if Chicago would do that, because obviously they did that for Khalil Mack, and they didn't even win a playoff game since that trade. So, but obviously with Watson, they'd be different. But Chicago has holes at wide receiver. They have to bring back Allen Robinson to me. So, yeah. I don't think Watson would want to go to the Bears, because I think the Bears could be headed for a rebuild potentially here and could blow it up and trade Khalil Mack and trade some of these guys. And by the way, Matt Nagy's still the coach for whatever reason. I don't see the Vikings doing it. They just paid Kirk Cousins. Unless if they do, and Kirk Cousins is in the deal with a couple future first-round picks, then that obviously makes the Vikings a contender. Green Bay's not doing it. Detroit's interesting, but I don't think that they want to go there. I think they want to start from scratch and draft like Justin Fields or something like that. Or Trey Lance or Mac Jones or something like that. But if they were to do it, then it would be Stafford plus picks for Watson. But I don't think that Stafford wants to go to a rebuilding situation, because obviously Stafford's available via trade as well. The NFC South, the New Orleans Saints have to be in play with Drew Brees potentially retiring. To me, they would have to do Kamara and a couple picks. Or maybe one of their other young players like Marcus Williams and some picks. And that would be a big upgrade for New Orleans. That would make them runaway Super Bowl favorites next year if they were able to land Watson. The Bucs aren't doing it. I think they'll bring Brady back another year. The Panthers are an interesting spot. That Teddy Bridgewater signing is awful. I said it was awful from the second they did it. Teddy Bridgewater to me is just a backup. And maybe Bridgewater's in that deal. You do Bridgewater and a couple picks. Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if they would use him as a part of a salary dumper, but I don't think that they can have to throw in McCaffrey in order to pull this off. I think you could be Bridgewater, Brian Burns, and a couple future first-round picks. That could do it. And then Watson goes to Carolina with McCaffrey and with the young defense and some other pieces, and Joe Brady, who's a promising offensive coordinator. And then you have the Falcons, who I don't think are going to do it. I think they'll stick around with Matt Ryan another year. The West, the Rams aren't doing it, the Seahawks aren't doing it, the Cardinals aren't doing it, but the 49ers, they're lingering. Could they do Jimmy Garoppolo plus a couple picks. And maybe one more pick going to San Francisco in the deal. Like maybe Watson and a 4th-round pick for Garoppolo, 2021 first, 2022 first, 2023 first, and a 2022 second. I think that could do it. I think really they could do that. And then Watson goes to San Francisco, and that becomes a Super Bowl contender in the NFC as well. So there you go, some hypothetical Deshaun Watson trades that I threw out there. You never know. We'll see where he lands. But if I had to predict where, I'm going to say Miami as of now. But that could change because I just think that Tua is the best asset on the board as well as that number 3 pick. So I'm going to say Miami, and that becomes a popular Super Bowl pick for the 2021-22 season. And now my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There aren't really that many good options on the board for best bet, quite frankly. But I'm going to go to college basketball. And I am going to go with a favorite that I think is a little bit undervalued. And that is... Where's that favorite I want? Oh, UC Irvine. I know it's a late night game. But I really like UC Irvine tonight against Hawaii as my best bet of the day. There you have it for the show today. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend in the NBA, NHL, and college basketball. And we'll look ahead to everything on Monday. Any other news in the world of sports and pop culture I'll have for you as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend, everyone.